But the other thing is that business about the choices. This reminds me of what we call the 7 to 9 in the Apocalypse games. Right?
Okay.
The
Right.
roll 2d10, or sorry, 2d12. What am I saying? I don't even know what I'm saying
Yeah, it's
anymore.
2d6. Yeah,
I
it's
know those
2d6
those
and
that yeah, that
right,
that that thing, right? Those two QB things, and
right.
you in the 7 to 9, of course, usually gives you a little menu of things for the player to choose,
Yes.
or the game master, I guess, in some cases, whatever. But the point is that this may or may not be a bad mechanic in and of itself. I'm not saying it is. I am saying that in some cases we have been observing that it can really gum up the actual fiction of the moment. Sometimes the thing to add is really out of left field, and anybody with a brain would not choose the one that's out of left field, but instead would choose the one that makes the most sense in the moment. But people always choose the one out of left field. Gamers. They're always
Right.
trying to make things weird.
True.
They're always trying to make things,
Right.
their sort of aesthetic sensibilities go out the window. And also, I mean, if the choice is, take take damage, or someone mysterious is watching and you don't know why. Right? Like, oh
Right.
yeah, the mysterious stranger, man. Fuck the
Right.
damage, right? And so, and you're like, dude, he just hit you with a 2x4. Take the damage. Don't be stupid. And he's like, no, mysterious stranger. And you're like, oh, God.
Right.
Now I have to make him a mysterious stranger. How many mysterious strangers am I going to be jumping through this time, right? So
Right.
so anyway, I'm not saying this applies to your game specifically, but it is something to keep in mind when you have a result that hands people a choice. And in this case, you're talking more or less a numerical choice.
Yes.
But then if it's a numerical choice, is it really, why is there a choice? Why not just have a numerical thing? For example, you could
Right.
have all the things that could happen, and like you cross off the first one, and then the next time you get that kind of result, you cross off the second one. And I mean, it doesn't have to be a choice necessarily, right? Just to have
Right.
different
That
things.
actually sounds pretty cool. Actually,
Okay. But my
where
point
it's like,
is that I'm saying, what's the point of a choice in this regard? Right. If that's the
right.
point, then yeah, maybe that's a better, maybe. Okay. Okay. I'm not designing. I'm just throwing out all the principles.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, so with that in mind, then we take a look at one more thing. Now, I kind of think all these things are related. So, and I
Okay.
promise it's the third of three. I don't have another, I don't have
Right.
another limb to sew on. The other one is hero points. Now,
Okay.
your hero point mechanics you've been sort of utilizing them in a wide variety of ways, affecting roles, affecting advancement, affecting um, identity of the characters, for a long time. With you
Right.
can go to the rules for Atlantis and the rules for Hellas, the rules for all the different versions um, of Godsend Agenda, and there's always these hero points doing a thing. In your earlier games, they were kind of like, old school, okay, advance or bonus, take your pick. Then they became more elaborate kind of web works of farming them
Right.
into different places and stuff. And in this particular case, first of all, it seems like we've got a lot. I mean, my character started with something like 12, and I spent 3 at a pop much more often than I did not. Right. I
Right.
mean, I would just, it was kind of funny. It was like, and I put 3 more hero points on it. And everybody's like, really? And I'm
Right.
like, what? What are they there for?
That's
Right.
absolutely
What are they
true,
there
and
for?
that's
Just,
that is the perfect phrase for them because I've seen people actually like hoard them, and I'm like, just
right.
use them, man.
Right. What are
And
they
it's
doing?
like in
Right.
any game that gives them
Right.
to me. If I'm playing Torg or whatever, it's like I'm using the point
Mm-hmm.
because it's there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pull this trigger and see what it gets me. But
Now, but what I'm
but
saying
yeah,
is there's a lot. I wasn't even close to sucking wind on those things.
right,
I mean, I had gained, I think I had some insane number like 12 to start or something like that, or a lot anyway. And then I had racked in a few by pulling on disadvantages. And I don't even think I really pulled on those disadvantages all that hard. I used a couple, right? But the point is, they gave me more points, and it seemed to me that all of us ended with a nice positive. We still had a nice little buffer of hero points waiting for us, at the bottom by the time we
Right.
finished this fairly demanding fight. Really, I mean, you had a lot of fun
Right.
hitting us with
Oh
all the
yeah.
things. Um,
I'm always trying to hurt people.
yeah, well, but that's, I guess maybe that's my point. I did not spend hero points to adjust the damage that was coming in on me that one time, because I knew that as a member of Black October, I had I had one get out of death free card,
Right.
which I wanted, or get out of incapacitation free card, and I knew I could use that. So I just went ahead and let all the bone shards,
Right.
pierce me. And I happily announced to the group, I've hit 0 hit points, and everybody's like, shudder. And I was like, and I stand up. Right? This was great. It was great. But my point is that I didn't do that out of a sense of deep, visceral gratitude that this was my only way to stay alive. I had those 5 or 6 hero points
Right.
just sitting there anyway. Right. So I guess what I'm saying is that it would be super, super hard actually to hurt a player character as currently written.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm not even talking about killing them, but having them go to 0 of one or the other of those resources and just go face down in the dirt, is it's strangely aversive for a genre in which savage personal defeat plays such an important story role. Right? If you go to
Right.
the comics that we talked about before, if we go to the fiction that we talked about before, you find that the protagonists will suffer horrifying personal defeat more than, an action hero does in a movie.
Right.
So the idea of why are we so safe is the question.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and
No, I
now
agree with you.
that may be a big part of just the history of the game. I mean, you've been like shaping the same statue different ways all this time,
Right.
and nobody could blame you if the numbers aren't, quite, you know, in the right spot
Right.
yet. But if you were to say, for example, well, I'm going to cut the starting hero points down to, a much smaller number, then I'm not going to cry about it. That's a good idea, right? Um, the other question is whether, given all the other things you have going on, are hero. I mean, you could go all the way. Hypothetically, not even advising it, but just as a scary place for you. What if there were no hero points? What if the
Right.
dice and whatnot, as we see them, are good enough, and then maybe the only hero points you get are by tugging your disadvantages, and that's it. You don't get any more.
Right.
That's it. That's all you got for the session. Use as many disadvantages whenever you want, but you use them up. You can't just hedonist, right? I mean,
Right.
but once a session, you can tug on that. And so I could get, if I use all 5 of my disadvantages, I get 5 hero points. And that's all I'm ever going to have for that session. Or all
Right.
the other ways that you have of like getting a drib or a drabbing or whatever they are. I think you have a couple of other means. That's fine.
Right.
But I'm talking about not having like a hero point, belt that I stride into play wearing. Um, there's a game that utilizes points like this that has done it a couple of different ways, but at present, I like the method. You get 3 hero points to start in the beginning of play, and the
Okay.
beginning of a session. I mean, at the end of a session, Oh, and there's ways to gain them during play due to the outcomes of rolls and stuff like that. There's ways to get them occasionally.
Right.
But at the end of the session, you have to clear them. The game also uses hero points in order to like start new abilities or to improve abilities. So basically, what this is a fancy way of saying is use the rest of your hero points for improvement now.
Right.
And so nobody ever is going to just clear them for nothing. You can always, throw the few you have left into improvement. But the point is that you don't end a session with points to carry over to the next. You just don't. You will have
Right.
nothing at the end of the session. At the beginning of the next one, you get your 3. Always.
Right.
Right. And so that particular construction, which is the current construction of Hero Quest, is not a bad idea if, as well. Now you have the
Right. The
cool
Robin
ways
Laws
of pulling
Hero
them.
Quest.
What's that? Sorry.
Robin Laws Hero Quest, right?
Right,
Not
right.
the TSR board game. Okay.
Correct.
Yes. Funny enough, I just ordered some of those books. Yeah.
That's a game which has, that's a title which has, you know, tap danced its way through gaming in various forms and ownerships and legal hassles for a long
Right.
time.
Well, yeah. Well, not anymore because
No, it got settled.
TSR is actually, yeah, they've taken it back, or Wizards of the Coast took it back. But no, I see what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Where you've got those points you have to use or lose, right, but no one wants to lose them. But yep, no, that was one of the things that I was tweaking was the amount of hero points, because you get hero points from all sorts of avenues, and
if you just started a session with none and you can't, whatever you had at the end just disappears. So sad. And start the next one with none. I actually don't think any of us would mind. I mean, looking at our characters, looking at what's going on, you've got 3 players who love their characters' disadvantages.
Right. No, yeah.
We won't stop. I mean, we're not stopping using those for all the fun they can bring. And so anyway, do you see though that those 3 things are related? What do failed rolls mean?
Right.
Because you spend hero points to up your failures and your minor successes, right? So the meaning of a failure is actually a really big deal. And then hero points in and of themselves, and then the business about here it is, right? The choice, right, of, because although that choice doesn't really mean hero points, that choice does mean what hero points are against, which is the antagonist pool.
Right.
So anyway, those are just some of the thoughts. Those things, these 3 points are just really intertwined, and it seemed like a quick glance at that might actually kind of be, in a lot of ways, kind of the heart of play for the game, or among the pieces of the heart of play, so that we can face defeats. I mean, you already pointed out, I think, after our first session, the one where we did sort of the group level play, right?
Right.
Those.
Yeah, with the event.
Right. And what you found was that we rocked it like really well. And you're kind of like,
yes,
this was supposed to be harder. You can't like take down your primary agenda foe just by rolling a few dice. I mean, how is this possible, right? So
right.
I think you've already got the idea that you're looking at the quantities of these things and deciding which ones are currently too big for the rest.
Right.